Hello, welcome to the channel. In this video, we will discuss the illustrious work of South African artist Rohan Lopez Final Pt.1. In the collage photo, Rohan Lopez juxtaposes two-dimensional black and white cutouts of people in transit, coupled with a skyscraper background to create an animate, colorful character recontextualized into a distorted temporal apartheid frame. By creating a collage comprised of 2D and 3D pieces, Lopez blurs the context and time of the photos to reconstruct the presentation of South African women, redefining their role against hegemonic notions of race and class constructs. We will scan the work from left to right, with our primary focus for this video on the far right with Lopez herself. Now, let's begin by developing some historical context. Within Lopez's piece, there is a sign in the top left corner. On it says Transvaal and Orange Free State, which were provinces and sovereign republics respectively. What is interesting to note is that the Orange Free State was dissolved in 1902, while Transvaal was abolished in 1994. Now, the Orange Free State's title can be misleading, as it was actually a Dutch settlement and not a location of freedom for black South Africans. In the context of this work, by having the Orange Free State pointing away from the focus of the shot indicates a movement from one time period to the next, introducing the notion of temporality that is developed throughout the usage of this collage. However, it is a temporal entrapment, as the black people of South Africa are caught despite where they go in the time periods. Now, let's explore the style. One of the most symbolic photos in South African history was captured by Sam Nzima during the Soweto uprising. Thus, Lopez's use of black and white facades with street signs denoting the historical context of the apartheid compels a visceral remembrance of South African history. Dividing the frame into three pieces, Lopez aligns herself at the highest slow point of working-class black people, emphasizing her character who is playing a cutout instrument with suitcases in front of her indicating a reception of the text box above her. It is important to note the scale and aspect of the people trailing behind her, building up this notion of movement through the photo following along with the signs discussed earlier. This movement is induced with a combination of time and visual sightlines, motivating the eye to focus on Lopez. This also creates an emphasis upon her as the main figure in the piece, and consequently toys with the notion of authenticity. While the photos are not necessarily animate, they are three-dimensional. Due to this photo being just an instance of time, the notion of authenticity is reshaped because there is no real way to distinguish a person who could just be a statue to scaled photos, thus adding another layer of blurred dimensions through the usage of a collage. By taking these photos out of the usual context, Lopez constructs an authenticity unique to herself that blends intervals of South African history into one temporal spread. Transitioning to collages, that's what makes this piece so unique. As seen with Wangechi Mutu's work, Adult Female Sexual Organs, she utilizes an assortment of materials such as packing tape, fur, and medical paper to create the concept of temporal density. Temporal density is objects having dimensionality outside the two-dimensional realm, while also being transported through time, becoming physical, animate pieces once again. This concept is prevalent within Lopez's work, as she uses stilted cutouts of two-dimensional black and white photos, blending elements of the past with herself who is contemporary. The usage of shadows predominantly emphasizes the buildings and signs in the back, demonstrating the weight that these inanimate structures carry constantly while the people have no shadows or extensions of themselves. The lack of shadows that the people have adds to the idea of movement because they are weightless as they move through the temporal field, thus they can be arranged and replaced depending on the scenario. Wrapping up this video, the next piece in the series will cover aspects of collage work and South African femininity. Take it easy. Peace.